everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Holistic Hub, episode 19 with Marie and Martine.
Hello, hello.
Hey, and we have just been chatting again on another level around 2023 and the vibrations of 2023 and how we've both been experiencing very similar downloads of information, but just in very different ways. And so I've been on a journey of understanding energy through the perspective of karmic contracts and new information around those releases and vibrations and energy that have been coming in and leaving from every perspective, not just me personally. I feel like I've been on the journey of observation in that with a lot of my clients, etc. And Marie would like to share today about, I can't introduce, you have to introduce it.
I thought I would touch on, because what came through to me early hours of this morning was just to tap into about highest good. When we many of us are talking about surrendering to our highest good, may highest good take charge, the aspects of positivity, and I'd like to sort of just delve into that a little bit more and what that really looks like, because I think there's a little bit of confusion and at times ego aspects that enter into that. So a bit of clarity there, and maybe just adding into obviously what Martine says, because what Martine's sort of discussing in the karmic contracts and how she's seeing it, I'm really recognizing timeline jumping. So I'm very aware when I'm changing up my role on timelines to certain people that I have to work with differently, and I'm just acclimatizing my energies to such rapid shifts with that. So we'll just go with the flow, I think, today, as we do. Yeah.
Now, do I need to quieten down Skylar, or is she okay?
Oh, I didn't even hear it then, did she, Beth?
Oh, good. Okay.
I must have entered into my zone. I had nothing.
Well, why don't you kick off into what you've been feeling, Marie, because I feel like that's a nice entry point to then me to elaborate in my own way.
Okay. Well, as I said, I've said to Martine, this actually is probably a nice little adjunct or flow on from the episode where we spoke about that chasm, the fear chasm that we're going to see this year, or more the separation, and it's not in any negative sense, it's just an energetic separation that will be soul dependent and vibrationally dependent on exactly where everybody's at. That with these never ceasing increasing frequencies that are coming through now, we've just had another run of big M-class, X-class flares, solar flares. So when the sun's firing off, these are the solar code enlightenments that are coming through to us. And as they come in, we're receiving them and we're responding, all of us, accordingly, however that is in our blueprint and plan in the now. So on a personal level for me, I've noticed that more local, that in the family dynamics, how I'm just seeing again some old layers peeling up again, and recognizing how quickly, and I know I'm sure many of us are feeling the same in our own way, how that pendulum just swings from one end to the other, up or down the spiral, and we can be really, really high, feeling good, and I've had a most amazing week that's been pumping. And then with no course of adieu or anything that actually took place, or nothing transpired, there was no incident. It was just the knowing of how I could feel that drop back again. And I thought, oh, I know I'm down. Okay, what's this about? And so it was interesting because I was on my daughter's property as I go to, and we haven't actually been there for a while. We've had a bit of a break with the holiday season. But back there again on Friday, I could just feel the difference in my energy again, and I could feel this whole boom, where I was up and down. I could just literally feel my knowingness going up and down this spiral consciously, and this is what many of us are going to be doing, because it's the conscious journey. We get more and more conscious as what we're doing and understanding that, so we can create with it and create with these frequencies and not just blindly go ahead. So this conscious part for me was interesting because it was just this dynamic from, wow, such highs to, feeling in spaces that I recognize and where I've been in the past, and I've visited them many, many times, and they're not the greatest feeling places at times. But it was just that knowing moment of how to recognize and not buy into my ego of, oh, have I gone down again? Have I plummeted? What did I do wrong? What's going on? You know, and we all do that when we feel a dip. We tend to default into our fear of, what have I done wrong? What's going on? You know, I don't like this. And so this is the test again. We're testing ourselves not to do that first and foremost, and to consciously be aware to go no and pull yourself back to a center as best you can, but then to feel out the space, to feel out the energies. And so as I sat there on her fantastic deck, and it's just this special place to me. I go out all on my own. And then I could really feel the energies of this land. And I really tuned to that, to recognize then the incredible frequencies that this land holds. And I'm always working on it. You know, I'm doing my work down there. I anchor on flaming, constantly working with the land and recognizing it. So as I was sitting there with that and just thanking the land and everybody involved and myself and all aspects of me, I just said, okay, you know, show me, teach me, guide me. That's just simply what I say. I'm ready. I'm willing, you know. And so I just sat there and I just let these feelings literally move through me. And truthfully, one minute I just felt like I wanted to cry. And so I had some tears, but they weren't like sobbing things. It was just this release again. And then it stopped. And then I felt really calm for a minute. And then something else came through again. And it wasn't relative to anything, but it was just this movement. And then the consciousness after a while again kicked in on the next level to go, well, this is the energy, Marie. You know what it is again, because that purging of light, that light that's pouring into you now, is bringing up and raising to the surface again that what we're ready to simply let go of. And this journey is about just knowing that's what we're doing, not necessarily knowing why and what it's all about. That's our head again. But just to be willing in the space to just go, okay, do your thing. That's it. I'm just here. And so I just let myself sit with it, and I just did my thing. And I was literally just doing this, just up and down, but they became more gentle as I acknowledged and I just surrendered into the space without, you know, trying to fix anything. And then I got up, as you know, I just sort of thought, no, I have to get up, listening. So I just got up and I was being pulled to, they've got a dam on the property that's sort of half full at the moment. And there's this little rock way of stones that you can cross, and then there's a big hill on the other side. And so I was just sitting there and I thought, no, I'm going over there. So as I went and I stood just on sort of the descending aspects of the stones, I was just told to stop. So I stopped and I just spoke to the land again, and I just said thank you, and to all of the energies around me, thank you for whatever you're sending to me now. It's okay, and I'm willing. I'm just willing to walk through this, whatever this be. And with that moment, I looked over to the trees, and it was sort of just a gentle breeze that day. But I looked over to these trees, this group, just sort of, I don't know, 50 meters away. And I kid you not, these trees, and it's happened to me before when I went to the US, these trees just started quickening, and then it was like their branches were waving. And that was the message that I got. It's like they were welcoming me. They were saying to me, yes, we recognize you. We recognize your energies. And I was like, and I felt that. There was no doubt around this. And I thought, I'm talking to the trees. And so I did. I just continued to be with those trees, and I just said, blow around me, clear my aura, clear me through the mental body, through all the planes of my being. Just let your wind, your air, your water flow. So this is very clan mother stuff as well. So that was beautiful. I just felt this joy in my heart rising. So the spiral was going up because I'm listening, and the heart was kicking in with my actions and my choices. And then Dragonfly was just flying and buzzing all around me. So I thank them too. So I thought, well, that was really nice. And I didn't give much thought to it after that. And I just, the blessings of thanks. And I walked back up because I thought, I feel like I need to go up now. And then as I walked back up to the next part of the land, I looked up the hill again. And here's the next group of trees. And I kid you not, I saw them and they were doing nothing. And the next thing, they went off and did their big high thing as well. And it was like, like it was so obvious you could not ignore it. And I just stood there and went, wow, you too. And I thought, great, thanks. And it was almost like these two sets of trees were opposite each other, which I thought was interesting in balance. So and that was sort of northeast and southwest, their direction. So, again, look to all the symbols that we get. And so I just thanked them too. And they did the same. They just got faster and faster. But I had this day, I thanked them too. And then later on, I was telling my husband, and he was like, there was a wind out there, And I said, it's not a wind. Look, it's just a breeze. It's not a wind. Oh, yeah, he always tries to dismiss everything. But I plant the seeds anyway. But as we took our little granddaughter for a walk up the hill, and we were going through further on the property in another direction, it took off again. And these other groups of trees, I said, see, that wasn't it. Oh, it's the breeze, he said. I said, okay. But it almost formed this triangle. I saw these three groups of trees that just were completing for me like a triangle, a trinity, a geometry, a completion of whatever I was doing. As soon as I'd left that and I'd seen the third one, I lifted again. I felt the shift out of me, and I felt me coming back up that spiral again. And we came home, and since then I'm just back on par. I'm back where I was. But it's incredible how and seeing, we've all got our stuff with our people. I was saying to my team, what I'm really seeing now very clearly for me is these evolvements, so to speak, up and down the spiral. I'm really recognizing them with different souls, the timeline aspects that I am obviously now training myself to consciously recognize, so that I'm not doing my old, I've gone down the spiral, but where am I and who am I playing with? And what's this about, and what role do I need to play? What do I need to refine? What do I need to look at in myself? What being aspect of me do I just need to be love? And then seeing how quickly that can change with the next person, how it can change with another person. And I'm just doing this dance that I like to call it, dancing with many souls now as I climatize my knowledge to frequencies and to differing timelines of differing energies that I still have in play with all the people that are in my world. Does that make sense?
Love that. I love that timeline. I literally just got it. You've been bumping your gums about timelines for, I don't know, so long. And I'm like, totes, like, I see what you're saying. But I just got it. I literally just got it, because how I've been recognizing that is through the complete dissolve of different games that I've played. So say I've played into the alignment that rejection can even exist. Then I'm presented, like we all are, we're presented with these tests. I like to call them opportunities.
True.
And we're presented with them over and over again. So this part of me that feels rejected, that's not new. That's one I'm like, oh, this is about that theme of rejection. But now I'm really seeing it as like a timeline, because I feel like, with my last opportunity to learn about rejection came because I was then just choosing to elevate my vibration around the circumstance. It healed on a completely new level that I hadn't healed on before. And therefore I saw it literally almost move into what you're saying energetically, a completely different timeline.
Yeah.
That now I have moved up and beyond from, but I can still have the opportunity to go into it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hit on another level that I'll see that so clearly now.
Yeah.
I'll see it clear as day, and it'll be, it would be very surprising if I chose to go there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
but the thing is too, can I just jump in there? Because I think this is really good what we're sort of teeing on. And I truthfully hadn't sort of planned to talk about a lot about this. But with the timelines, what I'm understanding, and I may do a workshop on this the more I get, but, you know, when we are ascending, again, keep in mind we're not, 5D isn't this place we're going to. 5D is the consciousness, and we are only consciousness. And this is, again, pulling out of the physical. We're not the body. We're not the body. We're energy first and foremost, okay? Consciousness first. So every time we're playing in these different timelines, and the difference now is when we talk about timelines is they've only become available, all timelines, in the last 2 years. They were all shut down before. The energies weren't available because we weren't ready. But now they're open in this new transition of Gaia, that we have all our timelines available to us now. So in saying that, this is where, again, you know, there's nothing to sort of, when many talk about, oh, I've got to heal, I've got to heal that, I've got to heal that, I've got to heal this, or, you know, the healing process. And you know, I'm really pulling out of the healing word as well, because, you know, it feels like there's something solid we have to fix to heal because something's not right. And I'd love for us to just change all our thinking about everything now to realize everything's perfect because we've designed it all. We've created every moment, as you say, an opportunity, a potential and a possibility. So the healing aspect is that when we meet these moments of energetic vibratory patterns and tones, and again, you know, Martine's talked about rejection. That was a big one for me at the end of last year too. Think of these words as not a wound or a pain anymore. They're simply a vibration. So in any vibratory tone, there are layers and layers and layers within a tone. It's like a musical note. It's not just one ding and that's it. Within that ding, there's ding, 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 ding. Okay, so you've got 7 to 8 layers in one note. And that's, again, just what you're hearing. But again, what's beyond that is you've got to expand your consciousness to hear, okay? So in that rejection example, via timeline, you'll attract all the players who have come with the same vibration for you to learn from. Two-way street. So again, we're not worried about anybody else. We're only worried about us. What's on offer? And whatever comes up is then, again, a part layer, a part vibration. And again, in that moment, it's, again, how much you truly engage the heart in the wisdom and the understanding without doubt. Got it, feel it, get it. Then how much of that vibration you raise into a higher vibration that takes you up the spiral, out of the lower density. So that layer's been vibrated up, so it doesn't exist. But there may still be 4 or 5 other vibratory tones within the layers you haven't addressed yet. So this is where the layering comes in like the onion, and people go, oh, I thought I'd heal that. Oh, here I am again. There's the negative again that we do to catch that. And this is, again, why I love energy, because when we understand these are just frequencies, and, you know, the truth of it is, because you're a consciousness that exists on, gosh, now I couldn't even tell you how many dimensions we all exist on right now. We're just choosing to focus on these lower ones to clear the way to rise even higher. Okay, so on some level, the highest level of our multidimensionality, we're healed. There's nothing to heal. We are healed. So the healing is the illusion that we're playing in to just get a consciousness grip on the energy game, the vibration. And again, for me, this is how, when we understand this, we can pull out a trauma. We can really pull out of our stories, and we can really pull out of the ego and victim to say, wow, this is just an energy and I can adjust this whenever I choose. And I don't need anybody else to do that, in truth. It's only me. But I can keep playing in the game, and if your game does keep playing and people keep appearing, it's because there's still vibrationary work that's yet to be rebalanced within you, and that's all it's about. And when we rise and we really vibrate that timeline that we don't need to go back. It's vibrating in a higher capacity now, and we don't need to revisit it. Or we play on a new game in a different timeline with a whole new set of people and a whole new set of circumstances and potentials and possibilities. And that's the journey. And it's how to now navigate it, traverse it, and again, always how to hold your balance through that so you don't dip back down into the old thinking and the old ways. And it's okay if you do. It's most important for me is how you address yourself in the moment, that you don't follow the old berating judgment patterns, but you just go, even if you say, I don't even know what this is about right now. Perfect, you're open. You haven't got it locked into a box that limits the process. So it's just that surrender, surrender, surrender.
And this comes back down to, judgments about what we may previously thought we needed to do in those circumstances, and really discerning whether that actually aligns with you, whether that is actually your truth. And that might be, like I was just guiding a client yesterday. My beautiful client brought her husband along because she just wanted him to experience, because she's like, we talk about so much and I can't always share it in the way that it happens in the room. And she just wanted him to be a witness. And, so he came, and it was like a joy to have him in the room. But the way that I was articulating, this to her is like, you can see he knows your pattern, but he just wants to know what's going on sometimes. So even if you just go, hey, in a bit of a dark place right now, just giving him a heads up, you've fully got permission to be in that space. It's not that whenever you share that with someone, what they do with that information is not your responsibility. But sometimes it's just nice to just be able to share that. Or if something is going on with in a relationship, what is it that you feel like you need to reply straight away? Or what is it that you feel like you need to even reply to? And it's just this consistent discerning, because remember about those timelines, a lot of what we do end up feeling like we are sharing with them might be still coming from our own patterns or our own beliefs or our own wounds. And therefore, you're just continuing what I like to call that karmic contract, playing the game, continuing to just keep building, as opposed to challenging that and going, thank you so much for raising this in me. And you can discern when and how and if you even need to engage in that, whatever's going on with that other person, to discern whether or not that's something that needs to be said or not said, or whether it would be in that vibration that you're really wanting to match within yourself, if that's actually going to be met when you reach out. So a lot of the times over the last many years now, I don't say anything. Massive journeys in lots of different relationships where, I end up doing a dance. So someone raises something in me, I'll be doing the dance. And as long as my gig is, as long as I don't say anything when I'm dancing, I'm good. So then I'll come to a place where I'll be like, okay, I see what's going on here. I see it. And I kid you not, 99.9% of the time, I do not need to share that. That might, if I have such a relationship with someone that I can then say, hey, this is what's been coming up for me about this, and thank you for stirring that. This is my goal in all my relationships. I ultimately hold that goal, like, not that I'm assuming that anyone has the capabilities of raising anything in me, but if it so happens to do so, then, my ultimate goal with all my relationships is to be able to share that and go, yeah. And I do feel like, hands down, like, many of my relationships have that. And I have the privilege of obviously seeing people in the clinic are volunteering to be there. So that actually gives me authority to call them on their crap. Very.
Oh dear. No,
and if they don't come back, it's,
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
But it's true. Like, that's what I do at home. Like when I know my stuff's coming up, then I say to the family, because my old patterns used to be, I would be, if I was in my stuff, I'd be silent. As a Scorpio, I'd be holding on and in my stuff, and boom, boom, I would shut down, the windows would go down, no one enters, everybody's removed, that's it, you're out and about. And no one they didn't have a clue. So of course, again, I'm not responsible for what they're thinking. But, at the same time, they're thinking, what have I done? Because there's always the dual mirror on and there are opportunities there. But now it's very clear cut that I'll just say I've only got 2 in the house now, but I'll just say to them, just a warning, heads up, this is what I'm doing. It isn't about you. It's got nothing to do with about you. I'm in my flame doing my best, but, I might not be as jovial as I normally am, but just let me be. They know what that means now, so no one takes any umbrage at it, no one sort of carries on about it, no one questions, like, okay. And I can feel their relief in a way, because it's like, oh good, we don't have to wonder what this is about or what you're doing, or have to go there and look at themselves. That's up to them if they want to, but it doesn't have to be, and there's no projection on them. And I think that's a real, again, that responsibility of self and knowing what you're doing. Because this journey is always about man, know thyself, which is what those big words in the Bible, I think they're one of the first words in the Bible, man, know thyself. This is all about us getting to know who we are. And, the thing that I've recognized in me, and I've seen it for a while now, but again, it's becoming very clear, is when I am playing the co-creator role, that it's not mine, but I'm playing the role for someone else. And I know if I'm sending potentially a post, or if I'm doing something, or if I say something, and sometimes something might just come out of my mouth, but I'm conscious going, where did that come from? I don't even feel like that. I feel fine. Like, what the hell, when this first started. And then I realized, oh, hang on. And I'd see before me what was going on. And I thought, oh, I'm actually just being the mirror to you right now. And so as we get to know us, then we actually get to know when it's not about us, and we're actually playing that hat, that mirror, that archetype, that role, whatever it is, for the person before us. And again, we can see them having a big dipsy-do, or we can see ego that might be risen and rising in them, but we're neutral. We're not attached.
Can you give an example there, Marie?
Well, I think, again, like my husband's always a great one, bless him. He's one of my best teachers. But in that, I remember one day I remember feeling, and again, always go back as you know yourself and your energies. I knew I was feeling really good. So I was just up, happy, happy, happy. And I couldn't even tell you what the moment was, because now I know it wasn't my moment. So the next thing I realized was exactly that. Like, he was there saying something, and just these words came out of my mouth. But at the same time, I was really taken aback by what I'd said, because I thought, was that even me speaking? Because it didn't feel like me. And I thought, I'm not even angry, or I wasn't in that space. And I was feeling really good like a second before that. And as he's like then doing his big dipsy-doo-dah before me, and I'm just in that moment, as I was learning, like, what the hell's going on here? And I had to feel that out, going, hang on a minute. This isn't even mine. Like, I kept checking myself. I'm fine. I don't have anything here. I'm neutral, but I'm watching you do your big song and dance. And I realized I was just playing the role for him to raise that in him, because he still has stories about me. He still has ideas about me, which I keep saying, that's yours now, because that's done. I'm not that person anymore. You're about 5 years behind. You really need to catch up. I don't know where she's been, but that's not who I am now. You need to start changing the thoughts in your mind, because we're not on the same page. But this is what we play with people, because while we're changing, a lot of people aren't changing with us, or when it suits their ego to have us in an old limitation to keep their ego game in play. And when we're not playing that game anymore, that's a big threat to anybody's ego, because this is how we've always played the game. So if you're changing and you're not that person, but I keep seeing that, well, they've either got the opportunity to keep being stuck where they are, or our truth offers them the potential to shift that truth.
Yeah.
And so my words are always, you need to change the thoughts, and you need to change the story, because we're playing a different role here now.
And if Marie was having like a reaction to that, if Marie was actually having a reaction, her husband's thoughts about her, then they would still be for her.
Absolutely. It would be mine. There'd be still layers of my timeline of the same trait that we both came together on. But again, that's, and someone says, oh, how do you know when you're healed? For me, it's, again, not that word, but anytime you've done the work, you've done the inner work, you've gone looking within the self to discover all these incredible opportunities for shift and change within you that others bring for you. Once you've rectified and rebalanced that, and you know that within you, and you're holding that graceful balance, then when that trait comes before you, and this is what I will say to people, that answer is that when that same moment presents, when that same person presents, that situation, whatever it is that you used to react to, but now you see it, you don't, you check yourself again and you're neutral, but you actually have the feeling of the total understanding of, I've been there, I've experienced that, I see myself, I know I've done that, but now I'm through that and I see where you're at, and I actually have the ability to just hold you, be in light and love with you and see you unconditionally. That for me is the balance of the healing, in the inverted commas, because there is no reaction. You are neutral. And in fact, then you're coming from the heart space of the total holistic understanding of the moment to say, wow, I'm going to offer you all my light and love to assist you through this now, because they well played the role for you to get through yours. And then the karmic aspects change and the completion of the balance. That, once you've received the light that's shone on all your shadow and you've worked through it, then often it's time for that game to shift to the polarity where you become the light to shine upon someone else's shadow, giving them the opportunity for their balance as well. And for me, that's karmic repayment, karmic debt balance.
That's right. And ultimately, my favorite way to look at it is that if there's any projection from me at all, I'm missing an opportunity. And I'm all about opportunity. Yeah, why wouldn't I choose? With you guys all here, I know that you've all looked at yourself on so many different layers already. Wouldn't you have rather lived that life all along than not have delved? And this is projection for me. Projection is something that I don't desire. I can see it sticking out a mile if it's ever something that I go to do, because it's a choice that I make, because with accountability also comes the joy in my life. That is where my joy, my love, my compassion, all of these amazing qualities end up residing. They become me, they emanate from me more. And because I've seen that, I can't choose the other way, because it doesn't take me closer to that. It takes me further away.
Yeah. And I think, again, for people to, because I've had a few people ask me of when I'm in the heart, when I'm not in the heart, how do I know again? And, my rule of thumb, and I do have some really simple rules of thumb, because this journey is meant to be simple, and it is if we strip away all the heady stuff. But the rule of thumb for me is, if it makes your heart sing and you feel peace and you feel the joy and you feel calm and content and there's nothing else around it, it's the heart. So if there's anything else around it, be it this or this, then you've still got some ego that's trapped around here in the fog around you. And that's okay. But it's, again, we're the only ones that can work with that. And so another layer even of that, and stepping that up again for me, was in families. I was saying to Martine earlier, families are always your greatest karmic teachers, and the most you've played the most games with them, your immediate family. And that's why we also drop our guard and we're just who we are with our family, and we can let ego come through far greater because we've played often the most with these people, these souls. So, for me, again, there was just that next consciousness layer again of the last week, in seeing where, any old stories that I can see, many of the family unit coming in on in a similar trait. That's why we're together. Here's that timeline, and everyone's jumped on because we've said, oh, great, you'll play this mirror for me and I'll be there for you and we'll just get this sorted this time. Yeah, fine. So we all rock up together. But here we forget that. And so here was this moment where I had the opportunity of just peeling it back again for me, not for them, but for me, to see how Not a thought now can I put into that position, not a thought, monitoring that. Where am I still hooking in? Where am I still displacing a part of me that plays in that old story with these people? And I can see it coming at me. And I've just literally had to say to everybody, no more. I'm finished. This is it for me. I'm pulling out. I know what you're saying, and I could see that this was a potential of come back in, let's have another layer here. And it was like, no, And this is the responsibility to self and the discipline to self. Truthfully, this is a discipline path. I hate to say it, but it's disciplined that we have to become to say enough is enough. Because we can't keep pretending we're doing these wonderful things if we're still playing old ego-based games. Ego devolves you more than your potential thoughts that you think you're doing. It's all about here, and again, when you really know you're in here, and you might not even consciously get it, but when you'll see it or feel it, because this is a magnet. When you're really shifting the vibrations within you and the heart pumps louder and faster and the vibrations going up and that spin of the soul is getting faster and faster, you are radiating more and more frequencies that are going way, way out there. So again, the magnetics of that is what is attracting the good things back to you. And that's where you know where you're at. If the good things are coming in your world, if people are just popping up with amazing opportunities and stories or potentials or, ideas for you or, whatever's coming, and you just feel that, wow, joy, or you just allow yourself also, which I've had to do this week, is to feel the knowing of like, yes, you can go that big. Let it happen. Where before I go, really, that's nice, or maybe. No, this week I had to actually feel this moment and go, yes, it's coming. I see it. I'm grateful for everything this person brought to me. I see the future. It's not time yet, but I am really aiming towards that, and I'm not going to diminish it this round. That's it. So these are the heart stirrings, and that just gave me such joy and excitement, and I could feel the energies of this, that, this has been the week for me. I've just had the most amazing week, and it's, again, I took that personally, and without that diminishing I speak of that we do as ego can do, but to say, you know what, I'm worth that. I am absolutely worthy of what's coming to me. I have been putting out for this, and here it is. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what it's about.
It's an attitude for gratitude.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Gratitude everywhere. Speeds the process up.
Yeah. And like when we got on here, Marie's like, sometimes I've had my eyebrows tinted, sometimes, you never know how you're going to get me. So Marie's like, oh, you're brown.
You got a tan.
Have you been having some time off? And it's just, I was talking to a friend of mine, Andy, today, and we were discussing, it just a lifestyle and a lifestyle choice, right? And I'm not here to, everybody's got their own journey. I'm not here to preach to anyone around what their lifestyle is. But for me personally, I need adventure. I need joy. I need creation. I need abundance. I need all of these things. And it's important for me to do it in a relaxed way. So when I started out the week and I looked at the books, it already felt like I was moving into quite a chilled week, because I had so many gaps for surfing, and if you've all been in the water this week, it's phenomenal. And I finally finished in the clinic yesterday afternoon around 5, and I thought to myself, here we are again. I'm like week 2 in term 1, and I feel really relaxed coming out of this week, and when I looked back and I had a look at how many clients that I had seen and what I had done, it was still a significant amount, but they were spread out in such a way that it was just honoring what was like what was, in my opinion, my balance, if that makes sense. And so, these times of creation and what we have the ability to reflect in that way, it does come down to our choice, absolutely, but it's there ready to make that choice on what and how you're going to make it. And as I was putting an IKEA package together for my daughter last night, I'm listening to an old album, Tracy Chapman's old album. And in one of her songs, she goes on and talks about, again, it's our choice to work 9 to 5. It's our choice to align to, what we view as being how we should and shouldn't do things. And, what are we doing to create a different way of doing that? And I had that conversation with another one of my friends who's got a 15-year-old at the moment, and he works at McDonald's and is observing lots of different ways of doing things at his age. It's going to be a completely different generation that come through and don't choose to do things in the same vibration. Yeah. So, Marie and I were talking when we got on around, knowing that our vibrations really set the frequencies around us. So, I call them, like Marie was saying, you'll attract that vibration to you. But understanding that just because it's not good in your opinion, or not of like what you are liking, it ultimately is clearing the way, for these vibrations to come in. It's just sometimes not so fun to figure out, like you might look like you're dancing a little bit. But you also said, Marie, something around making sure that you don't condemn God for that. Do you want to talk about that? Remember how you were like,
yeah, that's with the highest aspect that I wanted to just sort of, my foot's on my computer still today, so I just bumped it, sorry. Yeah, that was the message that I got this morning. And I think, we might finish on this, that I know, Martine, I know a lot of my clients, and probably you do too, I teach them to surrender to the highest good. Again, you cannot go past that mantra. Highest good, take charge. Thy will be done. Our higher self, our Christ self, our I am presence, our monad, who we are knows exactly why we're here. They've got the blueprint. They know the whole journey. So why would not we connect to that and trust that? But the part of our ego fears that connection, because that's just what we're moving through. So many people I know, again, in the talk, this is all part of the learning though, but I just want to, highlight for everybody, just in case, that when we are surrendering to our highest good, and we say, yep, let's manifest it, let's make this happen, bring to me, the highest point of light, I'm ready, let's go, and we're putting out all this great stuff. If we're still got ego there, well, ego's still in the mix. There's still some aspects of the vibrations of fear. So those vibrations usually still win, because we know them better. We've played with fear a lot longer than we've played with the ascension vibrations and the abundance and remembering we're worth it. We're getting a handle on this again. So many times when the highest good comes through, and this is the point, it's not always going to come through rosy. It's not always going to come through happy days. It's not going to come through, wow, here's my problem solved and sorted. And this is what I want to stipulate clearly today. Highest good, thy will be done, not my will, ego will. But when we say those words, we're saying, I'm handing off everything to my higher parts of myself to say, bring to me what's in my highest good now to ascend, to learn, to evolve through. Okay, so some of those may be really good uppity moments, but some will come as the opportunities of the learning expansion moment, which may present as not so pretty. And we think, oh, I didn't ask for this. What's this come for? Oh my God, I feel like I've gone backward. I don't want to play this game anymore. Oh, this is too hard. And we go into those sort of avenues again. But this is what the highest good is about, because your higher self knows when you're ready to work through your stuff, to work through the lower vibrations. So like I said, for me, the light coming in pushes this up for you, because we can't take anything with us. It must be transmuted and transformed and raised back to the higher consciousness for our furthering of our path. So we have to walk through these core teachings. We have to go through these heavy moments at times that can seem just, ugh, and the angers come up and all the frustrations and all the darkness and whatever it else might be. But these are actually potential light moments. And that's what I really want you to know. It's all about this. It's all ultimately about how you perceive and take your slant on things. But as you can gradually chip away to recognizing this is an opportunity, this is a potential for me to know more about myself and to rise, this is why it's coming through. And the God part that I was sort of talking about is that, you know, when people are in their dark stuff, they're in their heavy stuff, they're in their big, confronting, challenging moment, this is when it's so easy for us to project away, to disempower ourselves and to go out of ourselves to blame or make excuses and justifications about why this is happening or why I don't want this to be happening. Or many will go up, and we can all attest to this, I can tell you, well, if there was a God, why would he let this happen? Or, well, if there was a God, then why isn't he making this better? Why would God give me cancer? Why would God do this, you know, or Allah, Buddha, whatever name you want to give it, okay? Or just if there was something there, source, this wouldn't happen, they'd step in. No, they won't. Let's just throw that out with the bathwater. No, anybody, any energetic entity will not. Because you're here as an incredible being of energy, a soul first that said, I can do anything to remember and I will. And you're in the free will zone. That's what this learning opportunity is about. You are here to create and to learn and understand and evolve through all creations, be they not so good and good, for want of contrasting dualistic terms, okay? So in this moment, are they there? Yes. Are they supporting you? Absolutely. But when we're in our dullest, darkest, lowest vibratory space, I can't speak space, that's the moment in time where we are in separation the most, and ego chooses to fight and no, and to pull away and continue that separation. So they're the moments almost, you know, when we're really starting off, or when, you know, some of the times when we go back into the big four, we turn away and we sort of push away almost. And so it's actually the opposite. The paradox is that's when we call out the loudest. That's when we align to that source. That's when we come back into that moment to say, assist me now. Work with me now, not fix me now, not come in and sort it now. It doesn't happen. They don't hear that request at all because they know you can do it. But assist me to understand, assist me to get through this, assist me to teach me, to show me, to guide me, to get my being around this. Boom, they're in like a flash. Because you're saying, I'm willing and I want you to engage with me. I'm coming into that atonement, that alignment with you as oneness. You are surrounded by the teams.
I surrender,
the language. That's the language we need to discern, but that's where, again, highest good is often what you don't want from an ego perspective.
That's right.
But it's a great opportunity and teaching on offer for you.
Yeah. And just practice it just for a second, like how quickly it happens. Okay, you know, let's go in just a little bit here. If you want to, pull over if you're driving, or do this later. But just close down the eyes for a moment. Take a few deep inhalations. So the first one that I want you to do is to just recognize your own physical being for a moment. Tune into your own physical self. Tune into how you're feeling, where you're feeling anything in the body. Just allow that to emerge and present itself. And now beginning to have an awareness of your aura around you. Just feel into anything you may feel about it. You may see colors, or you may feel where its perimeter goes to. Again, we're not doing it from a judgmental. We're just observing. So you're in your physical and you're feeling your aura. Now I want you to call your higher self in and see immediately how your aura almost expands up and draws this higher self down, and just observe within yourself how you're feeling. And now take it to another level where we ask Archangel Metatron to come in. And Archangel Metatron to me is a very big grounder of energy. So just again, feel now that you've asked Archangel Metatron in, if that changes the energy at all. And you may start to feel some geometric grids being placed around. And then one last exercise I'd like you to do is to visualize someone that you may be having a little bit of challenge with in your life, who's maybe reflecting a few things back to you. Just visualize them before you now. And again, just see their physical being, see their auric field, feel the energy between you. And now take it up to their higher self. So tune into their higher knowing, tune into their higher self. And just feel the difference of the energy that's happening between you now. And release that person. Come back to yourself. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So you can expand on that and practice that in your quiet. I'm sure Marie's done a meditation on something similar at some point that she can forward.
Have to think.
Have you done anything like that? Yeah.
That was nice. Lovely.
Anything else?
I don't think so. I think that's probably a fair bit of information for today and something to think about. And again, you know, feel it out, send us a comment, let us know how you're going, or any ideas from this if you want us to expand. And I know we've got a couple of options we're still working on from other comments that we will get to, they'll come. But yeah, the more we know what you'd like, then the more we offer. We just trust what we get, that's what's helping or assisting me. So we go with it.
Yep. And it's a joy. So
It
whether
is.
or not we have one person listening or many, we're very just joyous to be here right now.
Yeah. Well, you know, we get to clear ourselves too before we
Yeah.
come on, and we have our little knitter chatters and do our thing and have a nice little time before we come through. So, but again, we're just, you know, our intention is to be here and just offer whatever we can to whoever's ready to hear it.
Yeah.
Until
next time.
Okay. Have a lovely Sunday. Keep cool wherever you are.
Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.